Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. My guest today is Cléophée Poli. I love her name. It's such a great name. She is an interior designer, a mother, and she was born and raised in Paris. She lived overseas for many years with her Australian partner. They traveled around between Australia, London, Africa, before arriving back to Paris right before the pandemic arrived. We chat about what inspires her designs and how she helps families of all different backgrounds and cultures find their dream space. So welcome to the show, Cléophée. We were just talking about, before I hit the record button, how cool your name is and how your mother was an artist and how I'm obsessed with it already. But thank you for chatting with me today.
Thank you very much for having me, Crystal.
I was looking over your website and your work is beautiful and looks super child friendly. And we're going to talk about all that. It's like modern and beautiful, but also I love the idea of what you're doing with children and like adding their artwork. Very cool. But I want to start with your background. So you were born and raised in Paris.
Yes, I was. Yeah. I'm a little Parisian baby. I was born and raised here. I've got my parents both come from, like, my father's Corsican, my mother's from Polish descent, so I'm a little bit of a mix already. And I grew up in the east side of Paris.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, as you just said, is an artist, and my dad was a collectibles and antiques merchant. And my grandfather was an architect. So the whole design world was surrounding me from a very young age. I pretty much spent my time between museums and flea markets growing up here in Paris. And I then met my partner, who's Australian, but I met him here. He's a brother on the restaurant here in Paris, and he came to visit. And one thing led to another. I followed him to Malawi, so we went and lived in Africa for a little while.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and then we went to Australia, and then we went to England. So I was pretty much packing my bags and changing my life and continent every 2 years.
Wow.
So there was a point where I was quite happy to decide to come back. That choice was made when I got pregnant when I was in London with our first baby. And we came back here in July of 2019.
Oh, so you're new. Oh my goodness, for the pandemic.
Yes, so we had a baby just pre-pandemic, so we were lucky in that sense. He was only a few months old when everything hit, so there was not much else happening in our lives anyways.
Yeah.
But, so outside of everything else going around it, we were just new parents. So it was probably one of the good spots to be in, I think, outside of the fear of what was going on. We were quite,
I was going to say being locked inside with your newborn for 1 year.
Yeah, well, I guess that's what happens to every new parent. You kind of you don't go out and party. I mean, you can, There's no problem if you do, but yeah, there's a bit of a the life of the party is not quite so much outside anymore once when they have a newborn
arrives. Kind of breaking the party life up. That's fascinating. You were traveling all over the world, and then you come back to Paris, and then you're locked in your house with a newborn for a year.
That's about what happened. Yeah, that's a pretty good description.
Well, I want to go back to the start. As you mentioned, your mother was an artist, and then your father was a collector. It sounds like you came from a family of artists. So were they supportive of you working in the arts or your creative endeavors?
Always. Yeah, always. Always. Yeah, I think it's always been, it's so ingrained in them and what they love and what they surround themselves with, like my mother mainly works with, she mainly paints and sculpts, but she does many other things. She writes, she was a wildlife photographer for over a decade. She played with many mediums. And my father is just an absolute design lover. So outside of his work and what he does it because he loves it. It's
Mhm.
I grew up with my father just, pinpointing in the background of every film set. Look, that's a, designer lamp at the back, look at Im's chair in the background. And, so it was something that I've always, was surrounded by. So when I told them that, this was the work direction that made sense for me, well, they were both very excited. And, my father and all of his group of, the network of merchants that, saw me grow up here on the Parisian flea markets and stuff like this. When I heard that I was, launching my own business, everyone was like, "Oh, well, there we go. That's finally, that makes sense."
We knew it all along.
There we go. What do you need?
Well, that's perfect. So do you work a lot with the brocantes with your own interior design?
So I do and don't, because they don't really run right now. So it's a bit of
Yeah.
it's an in between scenario, So basically, this is part of my life. So
Mhm.
I grew up running them and being on them and waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning, setting up and talking with professionals, and this whole aspect of Parisian life that not all Parisians know of either.
Yeah. Yeah.
And well, obviously lockdown hit. So luckily for me and for my clients and my projects, I have that strong network of people that I can hit up and go like, "Hey, I'm looking for a particular mirror, or I'm looking for 1950s bar cart," or like. So I
Mhm.
think that I got lucky to be able to go and knock on everyone's, what do you call them, on their,
For
what
window?
everyone already had. So I can't really go and scout about yet,
Mhm.
but I think hopefully with everything getting better and keeping on being positive with the situation, it should start happening soon, and we can get to accessorize a bit more our projects with knickknacks that we can find around.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's like the most fun part, I would think, is finding the old and mixing it with the new.
Yes,
And I wanted to
exactly.
talk a little bit about like how you got started in interior decoration. Like that was something you knew from a young age, or what inspired you to even follow that path?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like I told you, yes, obviously, like it's something that's always been within me, if you could say.
Mhm.
But like
Yeah.
it's like my mother, as I said, is very creative outside of being an artist. She was making me draw floor plans of my favorite house when I was like 8, or so there was a lot of secret rooms and a lot of indoor slides involved. So
Yeah, I
not so
love
not so much anymore, but so it's like we mentioned my name just before we started recording, and you mentioned, is it Polly, like Polly Pocket? And I said, yeah.
it.
I actually remember my mother on our Parisian apartment getting chalks out, and we were opening the Polly Pockets and drawing out the 4 cities, and like, so we would do like floor plans on our actual Parisian parquetry. I'm not sure,
Oh, that's so
like
fun. Your
she was
mom
she
sounds
was she was,
really
she was okay to do the cleaning before, but yeah, I have all this. This has been something that's been with me for a long time, and so I have also a background in luxury hospitality management.
fun.
So I started my course of interior design, my path through the interior design world in the hospitality and restaurants design. So that's
Mhm.
where I took the plunge really and started making it my livelihood. And
Yeah.
so that I was more so involved in designing restaurants and bars, jazz cafes, and things like this. And that was in Australia and in the UK. And then coming back from London to Paris, I became a mom, and out of becoming a mom, I had my family for the first time. And as
Mhm.
you said, lockdown hit, and I think the sense of home became even more so relevant than it ever was.
Yeah.
And it was, home is so relevant in the time we live in now, and that made me make a it was an obvious decision to focus my work on residential design, as
Mhm.
I just realized, outside of just having people around me asking me for advice, going like, "Hey, I'm an expat, I live in Paris, I have no idea where to find things, Cleo, can you help?" Outside
Mhm.
of that,
Mhm.
it was it really resonated a little bit more deeper with me. And it was really more so the sense of knowing where well-being starts,
Mhm.
and how much we can enhance our living everyday life
Mhm.
with the things that we surround ourselves with. I think we'll sensorial beings, and we, whatever we surround ourselves with makes us even more so aware of the spaces and the experience we live in those spaces. And I think, it's not just a visual thing. It also can change our behaviors with ourselves, but with each other's, as a family or couples.
Yeah.
I think it's very relevant.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. So it's not just about, because sometimes with interior design, it's like, oh, it's fashion, it's pretty, it's fun to look at. But what you just said, it's more about, how we're acting in our daily lives, even a sense of home. Like, can you elaborate a little bit about how your designs affect the way people live?
Well, I think any good interior design is considering very much of the people that lives within the space, if we're talking about residential design. So, interior design shapes the space we live in, so it's the experience that happens within the spaces in my where I come from. So knowing that a room will be lived by a bachelor, or by that same space being a large living room, for example, or by a family of five, will obviously not be used and lived the same way. So,
Mhm.
I think we really try and focus our work, which we do, as you said, mainly with families, but we try and focus on the stages our clients are living in. Where are
Mhm.
they at in their lives? Are they here? Are they living in Paris for a short term? Are they here for a lifetime? Are they, what age are their children, if they have one or more? And what's the path within that space? What's going to be
Mhm.
happening here, so that not only the space is a space that can evolve with the children, and a space where they can grow in, and the space can grow with them. So, it's making sure that, well, I mean, we have so many clients telling, on first contact, where often I get people telling me, like, I just want to live in a beautiful home, and I see it everywhere on Pinterest, and I follow all these Instagram accounts, and it's so beautiful, but none of these people have children. It's impossible. I tell them that they do. They just clean up very well, and behind the camera, there's a whole lot of crap hiding behind. But like, it's not impossible to live in a beautiful space, and in a functioning space, and optimizing the way you're living, and the layouts of your home, of your rooms, and all of this is still possible. It's about finding the problems and all the solutions that might need solving. Like,
Mhm.
it's about making sure that not only you surround yourself with practical things, because living in, like, most of our clients are in Paris and all surrounding areas, but for Parisian apartments, we know that there's one thing that we lack is space often.
Mhm. Mhm.
We don't have the luxury of spaces like America or Australia, or like places where space is not an issue. But in
Yeah.
Paris, because we get to walk those beautiful streets, we also have to have walls that are a little bit closer to each other,
Mhm.
and so it's practicality and function is a massive factor in the way we design spaces.
Mhm.
And so it's about finding form to, putting form to function. It's really going with our clients' personal lives, and the things that they like to surround themselves with, whether it is memories from back home, or things that they picked up on their travels. And it can be anything or everything, something they picked out in a Parisian brocante exactly that they really love, or little memorandums they had from here and there. And it really is finding the way to highlight the things that they need to surround themselves with, and making
Mhm.
sure the space is functional, so that the whole family can work out as well as it can within the space.
Yeah, there's so many moving pieces because, like you said, in Paris, we're not living in ginormous houses, and we want things to look nice, but we don't always have the space for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And even more so these days, because pretty much everyone, like, our home have become so multi-layered. Pretty much everyone now has either one or two home offices within the home.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we already didn't have much space, like there
Yeah.
was already not that much space. Now we have to implement another zone, which is the key of, zoning and area and finding space within spaces, and being able to get creative and and go, okay, which cupboard are we going to put your husband's offices,
So what is the most difficult part of your job?
That's a good one. The most difficult part of my job, I wouldn't say the most difficult, but maybe the most challenging,
Mhm.
is to be able to, like, on a creative sense, being able to really jump from one environment to the next, because we're working on such different projects and with such different people, and we're putting our clients at the heart of our design decisions. So,
Mhm.
because, like, I I try and implement the interior design principles and elements that I think are reasons, that are beautiful things, and I think, that I try to encompass within their homes. But I try to tell everyone's stories within their home. So, everyone's story is so different. We work with
Mhm.
with people from all over the world, and we have couples that are, English speaking but not from Anglo countries. We have a couple who's, German and Venezuelan. We have people from America. We've got people from the UK. We've got French mixed up with other nationalities, and so I think it's about being able to go from one to the next, and being able to really compartmentalize ideas and design solutions, because they're not the same for everyone, not
Yeah, yeah,
everyone have the
definitely.
same needs within their homes, especially with children, depending on the home that you have. Storage might be a massive issue, and things that you need implementing. So it might be like, everything might be a way of finding hidden storage, or places where we can hide things because people don't have a cave, or they don't have the cupboards, or they don't have, so
Yeah.
finding this, within the furniture elements. And, uh, some people have plenty of storage and they don't need to store more things because they're not here for long. They have some things and they have what they want. They just want to be able to decorate and to bring art within their homes, or to implement, better lighting solutions, or, so it,
Mhm.
it really is like going like, okay, we don't have the same streamline, but it is also what I love in some regards. It's not every day is the same at the office, and we get to have very, very different, very different working days, and very, very different working weeks. And this is also
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I love my job. It's not one day is the same.
You like challenges.
Yes, I do. Yeah, tell me about it.
And talk a little bit about some of the maybe countries or places or things that inspire how you choose your designs. Like, is there certain countries you really like the way they do cabinets, or is there a certain person you really like the way they do their work?
I am a big fan of what's happening in Australia.
Hmm.
There is something very pared back and very, outside of, as we were saying, like outside of space. There is something very, very clean and very curated about the way that the Australian designers work their spaces. I think that they have a very, very strong, like, even the architectural culture over there is incredible. I personally draw my inspiration from my personal travels and from places I've lived in. I have plenty of inspiration from my time in Africa. I have plenty of inspiration from my time in the UK, and like, you can imagine the combo between Liberty prints and African masks. It doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily go
very
together, but
different.
it's about finding and drawing the right bits and pieces from. I always ask my clients on consultation, like, how do they want to feel in the space? It's not just about the way it looks. For me, it's about how you want to feel once you enter the room, and like, what's so things that we draw back to are things like, was there somewhere in particular where you stayed, a hotel, or or your grandmother's house when you were a child, or like, were there a space where it just felt good, or you felt
Mhm.
happy, or what surrounded you felt safe or felt beautiful, and it made you feel even better, or made you feel more creative because you work in the creative industry, or made you feel more calm because you have a very hectic work life. It's about really finding the things that all in all, out of my personal background and inspiration, I'm able to translate into our client's home, because it is so, like, so personal. It doesn't get any more personal than going through people's wardrobes, and and we often very much know more about our clients than even some of their best friends. We get to ask people, like, how many shampoo bottles do you have? How many, all the little details about how you live your life exactly. And there's a lot of things
Yeah,
that people don't know about.
exactly. It's like going through someone's trash or something.
Yeah, no, sometimes sometimes we help them trash things as well, try to help declutter. We're not home organizers, but
Yeah,
it's
sometimes they have to. Home makeover.
that's
And then talk about like one of the more interesting jobs you worked on. Were there any like interior design jobs that really stick out in your mind?
we had a few. Yeah, I mean, like, some of it, like, as you mentioned earlier, we do make our clients' children make artwork. So
I think it's so cool.
it's one of the things that we propose is the kids' artwork. So basically, we work out a color palette. And the way this happened was really because we had pretty much back to back two projects where our clients came here with not much, because of
Mhm.
work transfers and life, and you come with the necessary and your life and your kids, and you just end up in Paris, and you don't have all your things and all the things that you have in your home back home. And
Yeah.
so you need to bring in personality, and you need to bring in some things that resonates and that makes you feel your home like it's yours. And even if it's your home away from home, even if it's temporary, or if it's a lifetime. The way that happened was me looking at my son. I was looking at sensory play for my son when he was like 6 months
Mhm.
old or something like this, and I saw those Ziploc bags where you put a bit of paint and they get to play around, or you put water and glitter and they get to play around and they get to tap it, and and my first idea was just like, perfect, we're working on that project. I'm going to propose it to my client and tell her, how about we do this, but like oversized, like times 20, and we put it above your buffet, and it's gonna be not only beautiful abstract artwork, but it's something that we can do with your kid, even though she was, I think that the client's daughter was about 9 months old at the time. So we did a clean painting way of doing this. So I went and personally picked out the paints and decided on color palette and mixed up colors to make them match up a photograph that they had in their living room. And we just got that kid working and helping out with the parents, and it was a whole family affair. And we signed it, dated it after it was dry, and it got into
Oh,
frames. And I said to my clients, not only like this is something you can keep forever. It's a memory of a
yeah.
lifetime. And then we got to have another project just after that, where our client had 3 children. So they had 3 to 11 years old.
Mm.
And so we decided that the age being a bit older, we could change the medium. So we went on canvas, and we decided to go really big, and we went on a 2 meter long by 1 meter high. And this one was a very much a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun because there was a fair bit of research going behind it, and deciding on the artistic direction we wanted to go, and what type of abstract work were our clients attracted to, and what was resonating with them. And then deciding on the color palette for the design of their homes. We decided on the colors that were going to go in within the artwork, and then rented out an art studio and made a full like workshop with the whole family at the beginning. And then we just got going. And yeah, I think we're going to be sharing this on social soon, on the behind the scenes of the making. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and we did it in a few stages, but it all happened within a day. And there was a maybe a few days afterwards where our client was very eager to get it in her home, and we were like, we needed for it to wait to dry, and then
Yeah.
it got on the wall. And we were very delighted. And that's the thing, we knew that those clients, for example, were not going to be here for forever. This is not a lifetime
Mhm.
home, but it is for now home. And
Yeah.
they knew that they were going to go home with some items, and this is going to be something that's going to stay with them. It's something that's
Yeah, you're creating
that,
memories.
absolutely.
And talk about a little bit how your creativity has changed since having your own children.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, I guess. Well, since I've decided to take this endeavor of doing this business and decided to work on my for myself and decided to do this, I think it's multiplied by 100 because
Yeah.
there is not one day where there isn't a new idea, and so I think I'm a bit exhausting for the ones living around me because I mean I exhaust myself on a daily basis as well. I think I come up with too much, and like it's got to be taken a day at a time. But there's a lot of big ideas, and there's a lot to be done out there, and I think there's it's mainly ways of I don't know, like it's there's just I think between wanting to implement things and having children in mind, working for families, we I get to have so I have almost my son's just turned over a year and a half, so he's 19 months
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
So as much as we work with people that have teens already, so outside of that, I go like, give me all the tips. But outside of this, I get to see things firsthand with him, so I realize things that work, things that make them want to engage, make like the way they play, the way he lives within my home, and how can it be better, and how can it be better for him, and how can it be better for us and all of us as a family, and so practicality of daily life
Mhm.
forces to think creatively, and forces to, outside of wanting to surround yourself with beautiful things and beautiful art, there's also things of going like, oh, that could be a great thing to put things at his level for this place, because this way he could like crawl around, or and then, oh no, he's standing, so this is now needs to be out of reach, so you need to have to think of out of reach things. And I think there's plenty of things that you get to be surprised as a first parent, and 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 it's like those little surprises usually try to, like, I try and get motivated by those to go like, okay, oh, is there a solution for this? I have so many of my friends, for example, and myself included, who end up having so often having to live with a clothes dryer, and that's
Mhm.
actually been like the Zoom background of so many people that have been on workshops and it's like we all live with them, and I'm like, I can't believe it's 2021 and no one's figured out a beautiful way to dry clothes. So it's in the
Yes.
works. We're thinking about a way. I have a
Of
friend of
course
mine.
you are.
We have a friend of mine who's a product designer. I've already told her, okay, let's get thinking, because this we have to, like, there's so many washing loads that happens with children. We have to be able to turn this into a piece of art somewhat.
Oh, please do. Oh, I can't wait to see what you'll come up with. And how would you define creativity?
I think creativity is 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 within all of us. I think we all have a talent. I think whether it is artistic or not, it's about being able to find solution to problems. I think it's a lot of problem solving, and wanting to put some romanticism on top of that. I think
Mhm.
it's being able to draw inspiration from everything that surrounds you, and everything and anything that's around you, and 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 just going with the flow on what's around you. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Like getting into those flow states and what you're interested in.
Exactly. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, I'm from here, but it doesn't stop me walking down the streets and every 100 meters pulling my whole family and going like, look at the door, look at the details on that balcony, and look at, and then this can, and then it's putting whatever inspiration you manage to draw from the things that are around you to, and then deciding on the medium, whatever it is for you, and whatever things that you want to recreate, then being able to just letting it out.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Let it out of
Let it
yourself,
go.
and put it on something, write it on something. You use your hands, do something new.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And with that note, why do you think creative people are attracted to France?
Oh, I mean, like, you've lived here.
Well, I know why I'm attracted to France, because it's one giant challenge.
It is. That's the thing. Like, I've gone away from it, and I've come back. Like, I've tried to leave, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But I think it's I mean, it's every designer's or artist's dream to be walking the streets of Paris. I know, like, it's some people's life goal to be able to come here once, and we're lucky enough to be living here, whether for a lifetime or for however long we're here for. And there's just so much beauty, obviously the architecture, the history, the museums, the art, everything that's around. My day-to-day life, I get to go source fabric at the Marché Saint-Pierre in Montmartre, just because, like, I get, every time I see out the Eiffel Tower, I still have a little bit of a gasp. I'm from here,
Yeah.
but it's still, there's nothing quite like it. I've lived other places in my life, and there were beautiful places as well, but there's something special about Paris, isn't there?
Yeah, there really is. It's funny to hear it come from a Parisian as well, but we all appreciate it, whether we want to admit it or not. Sometimes we get a little jaded from being here too long, but as someone who's traveled and come back, and you're new again the last year and a half or whatever,
Yeah.
wide-eyed again.
That's it. The love story keeps on living.
Calling you back. And what advice do you have for people that are struggling to find their creative gifts?
Not to be afraid. You can't make a mistake in creating. You can't. There's no mistakes to be made. There's things you'll love more or less than others. It's about being able to, depending on your personality, being able to either reach out for the support or the pat on the back that you might need. But if you know that someone giving you confidence by telling you that you're doing well, then go and reach out to people, to go and ask for advice, go and ask for feedback, and just don't be afraid to make mistakes. It all takes time, it all takes sacrifices, you've got to allow yourself to make the mistakes and take the chances and try something new and try something not new and keep on trying. And it's about really just giving yourself, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be afraid of, like you said, making mistakes. There's no such thing as perfection.
No. That was one of the best advice I was ever given, actually.
Oh, I like that. That's one of my questions.
Yeah. Yeah, perfectionism gets in the way of getting shit done.
Yeah,
pardon my French. It's
pardon my French.
It's one of the things that resonated the most with me, because I had a tendency of doing this. It's if it's not perfect, then it's not. Nah, nothing's perfect. Just get it done. Get something out, and then learn from it and start again. Do more. It's okay.
I like that. Oh, that's great advice to end on. And where can people connect with you online?
Well, we have a website, which is www.cleointeriordesign.com. So CLEO, like Cleo. And we are on Instagram and Facebook as well. So same, at Cléo Interior Design. And you can find us, so social on LinkedIn as well. But most of the spots that you'll want to connect with us will be our website or our social media.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. And next time you're picking up fabrics in Walmart, come knock on my door, because I'm like just near the tissue district.
But there you go. We can have a coffee or look at the Sacré-Cœur together.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.